The Fat Controller had decided to give the Diesel another chance to work on his railway. The Diesel was snarky and rude when he first came to Sodor. The Fat Controller had assigned Boko to show him the ropes. When they reached the shed later that day, the Diesel surveyed it again. "It's time, Boko, that we took this railway over," he said. Boko glared at him crossly. "Shush! This is their railway after all," he persisted. "Not for long. My controller on the other railway says that steam engines spoil our image." Duck lost patience. "Of course we do," he snapped. "We show what a fraud you are. Call yourself an engine? If anything happens, you care nothing about your train. You just moaned for a fitter if a bowler hat gets stuck in your air intake." The other engines laughed. But the Diesel was fuming. "Nothing ever happens to me. I'm much more reliable than you smelly antiques." Vulgar noises greeted this. The Fat Controller came to stop the noise. When the Fat Controller left, the Diesel was still fuming over Dux's joke. "How rude," he said. "You've asked for it. Now be quiet and go to sleep." The next day, Henry was taking the express down the main line. But when he arrived at a station, there was a problem. "Your regulator's jammed wide open," called his driver. "I can't budge it another inch. We'd have to cancel this train and go back to the yard to get it mended." "But what about the passengers?" "Sorry, Henry, I must cool you down so I can mend your regulator, and we can't block the main line for the other engines. We'll have to use a reverser for the homeward journey." Henry sighed. There was nothing more he could do. Bertie arrived to take Henry's passengers, and the big green engine puffed sadly away. He felt very embarrassed. "I'm a failed engine," he moaned. "Lost my regulator." "Cheer up, Henry," replied his driver. "At least you got steam in your reverser, although you have to go slow." That made Henry smile for a bit. But then he thought, "But Gordon and James will laugh at me when they see me like this." He arrived at a signal box, and opposite to him was the Diesel with a train of tanker wagons. "Even worse," wailed Henry inwardly. "Now the Diesel will laugh at me too." But the Diesel wasn't paying attention to Henry and his misfortune. He was having troubles of his own. The signalman came out. "For pity's sake, take Bowler away. He had failed. Boker's train is behind, and all he does is wail for his fitter." "Bowler?" fumed the Diesel. "You be quiet," snapped the signalman, "or maybe I'll ask your controller what scrapyard will take you. Now then." And that made the Diesel subsided. Henry chuckled, but was trying not to laugh too hard. Henry backed down towards the Diesel, and his driver, turning the reverser to forward, pulled the Diesel and his train away, without the Diesel's help. Meanwhile, Boko roared past his passenger train. The Diesel hoped that Boko hadn't noticed, but Boko didn't have time to notice the Diesel. "Oh, these coaches are so heavy," he groaned. He roared at them, but it did no good. He struggled on and on until he came to a standstill. "Well," said his driver, "looks like we have to move 2 Diesels, eh? Do you think you can manage?" he asked. "I'll have a jolly good try." "Let's get going then. We can't keep the passengers waiting." And so Henry puffed the sulky Diesel into motion. "Get moving, you!" he puffed. Henry gently buffeted Boko's coaches. And soon Boko and Henry set off for the big station. Gordon and Donald were at the big station as well. When they saw Henry and the Diesels pulling in, they both cheered. The passengers, though, were very cross, but when Boko told them about Henry, they thanked him instead. Gordon backed down onto Boko's train. Donald took the Diesel's train, and the Fat Controller sent Henry and Boko to the works to be mended. He then spoke severely to the Diesel. "My engines work hard to keep their trades running," he said to the Diesel, "not blocking the line wailing for a fitcher." The Diesel felt very sorry. "I'm sending you back to the other railway once you're repaired, and I hope you come back a more sensible engine." "Yes, sir," replied the Diesel timidly. And once he was repaired, he was sent home. But will he come back a sensible engine? I don't know. Do you?